welcome to Speaker Co-working, sponsored by SpeakerHub. I am Angela Lewis, Head of Operations, and Ron Story Jr., who is our owner and head of everything else, will be joining us shortly. On this call, we answer any questions we may have and celebrate wins and then share about the speaking industry. We have these calls every day at 12 Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. Eastern. And Jack, who's one of our members, has a question. All right, Jack, ready for you.
Okay, I'm a member in the area of associations and podcasts.
Okay.
So that's where I'm starting to put out my pitch, my message, right?
Okay.
Now I'm trying to share the screen as I'm talking to you. Can I do that?
Yes.
Although I think I'm already in share. Am I in share now? Let's see.
No, we don't see your screen.
Oh, anyway, I'm trying to hit the share button, but it's not responding to me.
Okay.
The one down at the bottom, the green one in the middle of the bottom.
Yes.
It's not responding. Now there's a sign in up top. Do I need to sign in? No.
No. Well,
but it should be responding to my. I'm hitting the button, but it's not responding to me.
It should show an emerging Windows.
yes.
Say that again.
It should show. Nope, sorry, Gustavo.
Say that again. Do what?
So Jack, it may be easier if we work on this a little bit afterwards. What we want to do is to try to, last week we announced we want to keep a lot of the support to the other call so that we can do more teaching on this call. But if you need support, someone from the support side can hop in to help you to get whatever technical things you get done, because it ends up slowing down the meeting. And since we only have 55 minutes, if we end up doing 3 support issues, we end up taking up half of the call. So we want to make sure that it's valuable for everyone that may not be experiencing those things, but we do have 24-hour support. So anyone who's ever running into an issue, I will share my screen here to kind of show you where you can report these issues if you want to get immediate help. That way we can maximize the value of these different learning calls and celebratory calls that we're on. So when you hop into your SpeakerHub, it's going to bring you over to the Academy. And right here at the top of the Academy, you can contact support directly. You can, we have our co-working calls here, but if you need to schedule a time with me, you can schedule a time here. So this is more of learning. This is like immediate help with the chat bot down in the bottom, right? So, you can get us right away from on this page. But so John, Jack, if you want to just go ahead and ask your question without the screen share, what's the issue? Maybe I could go ahead and answer it since we already have it up without the screen share. What's the issue you're running into?
Is there a methodology in the area of associations? When I go into the search bar for associations, I'm trying to extrapolate a specific area of associations. Now I found out there's a director of associations and there's another associations of associations. But I'm trying to figure out a way to extrapolate very specific types of associations within that search bar. Is there any methodology around that?
So here's the one thing that we always talk about, which I'll show you here. One of the cool things about SpeakerHub is that we let you search for podcasts, which could be topical, it could be name-based, it could be industry-based, it could be just about anything you can search for with a podcast. When it comes to associations, media outlets, and conferences, it's going to be industry and audience based, meaning that if I'm looking for the insurance associations, I can type in insurance and it's going to bring up all of the associations related. I'm in podcast, 1 second. It's going to bring up all of the associations related to insurance. If I said, something like topical based, like, charitable remainder trust, right? That's a topic. There's going to be charitable things, but there's nothing that's called the Association for Charitable Remainder Trust, if that makes sense. So
Well,
you want to
you
kind of
said
stay away
audience
from the
based.
topic based and look at the industry based or audience based when it comes to associations and conferences and media outlets, because we don't know the topics that they want to talk about. So the great thing about it is that most of our speeches, I haven't met anyone ever that couldn't speak at any organization. So the most valuable way to do, what city are you in or what state are you in?
I'm in
Jack?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the USA.
Philadelphia, right?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA is where I am.
Yep. So I believe you can go and give your leadership talks and things that you talk about at any of these organizations.
Yeah, I've been on that page right there. But when you use the word audience based, how do you define that?
Yep. So if I wanted to work with plumbers, I think I spelled that right.
That sounds industry based or topic based.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
know that in the audience, the people are called plumbers.
Okay. Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
If I was looking for construction workers, right?
Okay.
I'm not going to search for buildings. I'm going to search for construction, right? Because
Okay.
or electricians, right? So that's audience based. Teachers, accountants,
Yeah.
financial advisors, insurance agents. Those are the titles of the people in that audience, even though it still makes a reference to the industry because that's how we identify people. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. It certainly does.
Yep. Does that help out a bit?
That's good. Yeah, that does help me out. I just wanted to learn how to work that search bar with more sophistication.
Yep.
That's
And
all.
the thing is that, it takes a little bit of finesse of learning different things to type in, right?
Yeah.
So over on the right, we give you some suggestions based on what you've searched in the past. So if I typed in education, it's going to bring up education-based associations,
Yes.
right? So on the right, we're going to give you some suggestions also, right? So
Yeah.
that's another thing. I can type in management, and it's going to bring up a gang of things around management,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but that's
Those
what
are
we're
very
teaching.
broad-based topics that they're not very specific, of course.
Well, because we don't know what the association wants to talk about, right?
Right.
So let's think about financial advisors, which is my background. This week, we may want to bring someone in to talk about mutual funds, but we're not going to change the name of our organization to the Mutual Fund Advisors Association just because we had someone to come in and talk about that. If next week we talk about Charitable Remainder Trust, we're not going to change our company name to Charitable Remainder Trust because we had someone to come in to talk about that. It's your job to pitch the association to bring you in to talk about your topic.
Can I ask you one more question? You've
Of course,
answered
you can
that
ask me
before.
1,000 more questions. I just
I
want
want
to
to be
make sure
quick because you
that
have
I'm
an
addressing it
agenda.
for
You have an
everybody that's
agenda
in the
today,
audience.
so I want to be quick. In the area of pitch versus follow-up, is there an amount of time between the time you put in the pitch and you don't get a response, let's say, and then the next time you follow up? Is there, 48 hours, 3
Yep,
days?
the next day, 24 hours.
24 hours?
Yep.
So you get back to them the very next day
Yeah.
with your
When
own
my son,
follow-up,
my
your own
son says,
follow-up.
my son says, Dad, and I don't respond, he responds in 30 seconds. Dad, he says it again. And then he says, Dad. And then he comes up and he says, Dad, did you hear what I? And I'm like, okay, all right, I heard him, right? No,
Yeah.
he didn't annoy me the first time. I just didn't hear him, or maybe something else. I was busy on another call, right?
Okay.
But is it my responsibility to go back and get his attention to fulfill his needs, or is his responsibility to come to me to get his needs met? It's his responsibility to come to me to get his needs met. These are his needs, not mine. They have a bunch of people that are trying to speak at their place. It's our responsibility to get our needs met. They don't owe us anything. And I think that that's one of and Jack, this isn't about you, this is overall. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that speakers make is that we feel entitled as if we deserve to be someplace. But in reality, it's their stage, it's their audience. They're introducing us to their people. It's our job to sell ourselves and to be persistent and follow up.
Well, I'm with you there.
Yeah, so you get it 100%. But again, I want to make sure anyone who's new here, all of my answers are always for the people that are watching on YouTube and everyone else. It's never picking on the person who asked the question. I just have to answer in a very generic way so that everyone gets value from what we're doing. So, Jack, any other questions, or did we help
I'm
you?
good. I'm
Okay,
good. Thank you very
great.
much.
Hopefully this was helpful for everyone else about how do you search. Audience-based and industry-based is great for associations, media outlets, and conferences. Podcasts can be topical based and things of that sort because we know the topics that are being covered on different episodes of podcasts. So let's go to John and Bonnie. John, what's up?
Good morning, folks. Yesterday I was hearing a lot of people talking about using ChatGPT for authoring books and things of that nature. And before I got a chance I had to jump off before I would give some insights on that, guys. I just wanted to make sure you people are aware that well, what I've done with ChatGPT a lot, I've written documents in my own words or in things of that nature, and I will upload that into ChatGPT so it can get a style or get a sense on how I write and who I am and what my style is. So I would suggest that if you're going to write a book using ChatGPT, that you do some writing of some extensive writing on your own and upload that into ChatGPT and say, this is my writing style. Now I would like for you to write a book based on this style. So it will sound more like you versus ChatGPT. That's just
Well,
insight.
I think that that's great advice. You also can do that with transcripts of your speeches. So
Mhm.
if you give more talks, you can upload the transcripts of your speeches so that they get a better sense um, of how you talk, your communication styles, how I like to put it.
Yep.
One of the best-selling books of all time is a book by the name of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's one of the best-selling investment books of all time, investment and business books of all time. And I believe the main reason for that is because even the title was simple: Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he talked about how his teachers and everyone else said, man, this book is too simple for people to understand. You make investing seem too easy. That's the reason that most people read it. Most people read and talk at about a fourth grade reading level in their daily lives. So the minute that we gotta, think about all of this complicated stuff, you lose a lot of the audience. And I'm a firm believer that as speakers, we should be master communicators where we can communicate at all reading levels so that everyone that we're dealing with feels comfortable reading and getting the ideas that we have. I could come on here and talk really technical about how to send emails. We could have made SpeakerHub so much more complicated, but we choose to go the easy route because we want to help more speakers, right? So we have to think about that. Even though usually we're the smartest person in the room, we have to act as if, you know, how do you put it? Even though we usually are the smartest people in the room, we have to respect that everybody may not have the level of experience that we have or the level of depth on our topic. Does that make sense? So I usually try to keep things really simple as far as instructions and things of that sort. So I think John makes a great point in updating so that you can get your style, but then you can also tailor it down and say, hey, make sure this is understandable at a fourth grade reading level, right? So thanks for that help, John, because I think a lot of times we forget how inexperienced our people are, like our audiences are compared to how we are with, the topics that we cover. Bonnie, what's up?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for that. That pumps me up, Ron, because my book is very accessible to people. There's no jargon in it. And being the academic nerd that I am, it was quite a adventure for me to write it in an eighth grade level and make it accessible to everybody. And that's the most important thing, right? If they can't reach um, whatever subject matter somebody's putting out because they don't have that experience, and we've wasted our time if we're in our own headspace about it. So thanks for that. And that moves to my question. Since the meeting yesterday, the things that I connect with, hello, the guided journal that goes with my book for people who want to take that step is also easy to use, but I'm using that to write the course that we were talking about yesterday that we're setting up for April. So one quick question is, video wise, is it to make a video and then a PDF for each of those 5-minute segments of the 45-minute total? Is it okay to use just a Zoom video? Can we record it on Zoom? Is there any reason to not record it there if we have to do it somewhere else?
So Zoom or Loom, if you have Loom, Loom will let you go up, I think, to 4K, and it's really easy to use if you want to do screen sharing with Loom. But Zoom is great too. Zoom, any service that records video. Here's what we want. We want it to look decent. Now, let me tell you why I'm not going to say the best, because you all will spend 3 months going to look for cameras and other goofy stuff that we don't need. We need it to be usable. Now, let me tell you why I choose Loom. And I think Loom is the cheat code, because you're not front and center, right? It doesn't make you, it doesn't make you like this. So now everybody's looking and you think somebody's judging the lamp over here and the light. I forgot to turn on the rocket and all of that. Loom ain't playing them games. Loom gonna put your butt in that bottom left corner and make people focus on the content, right? So you end up getting out of well, my background needs to be great. You get out of that mode and it removes the anxiety from what you're trying to build. So here's a great example of this. I'm gonna use someone that I know. This person filmed a bunch of courses here, right? And we put up the workbook, but then here's the video and look at where she is. She's over here in the corner. Guess what you got to do? You got to focus on the content. That's all you got. That's all the space you got. Because it ain't about you. It's about where you're trying to take them, right? So Loom allows you, this was filmed on Loom. This allows you to just be in the bottom corner and not be in front of the content. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And you're also saying, don't get fancy and all the stuff, and looking at the background of that, and it's like, it's pretty fancy. So if we're writing a PDF to go along with that as a
second.
guide.
That's just a slide. Those are just slideshows.
Okay.
That's just a PDF slide, right? So all I'm saying is if you make the slides, and they can be blank, and Maria made them fancy slides. Go look at my stuff. I don't put none of that background crap on mine. I tell them my first 8 times I'm gonna do this webinar, it's gonna be blank. And then somehow they slide in a logo in the corner or something. But nah, I mean, don't let that stuff distract you.
So we can I can make my slides into PDF, and that I can do some of this. It's just like, wow, that was fancy. But so PDF can go in the background and then you're in the corner, and whether that's something written for them to follow or a slide, it can be done that way. That's all I need to know.
Fancy.
Awesome.
I teach a class usually twice a month. I have it tonight for the Ohio State Business Development Center or something like that. I do 2 classes a month with them. And I use a basic PDF. It's 10 slides. I talk for an hour. Usually I talk for 30 minutes and open up for 30 minutes, right? So it's very interactive, but you don't need anything fancy. People care about the content. Does that make sense? So don't let that be a distraction.
Got it.
So
Cool.
let's see. Someone was just in here I'd never seen before. They left. Dang it. Okay.
Hey, can you show us really quickly again? I'm sorry. Can you show us really quickly where the core stuff goes in, where we put it in to SpeakerHub?
You don't have access to that yet.
We don't yet. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Don't worry about that. Just get the courses stuff done. We'll get you in April. Yeah, you don't have access to it yet. It's still Gustavo is so you all know I'm not just making up. That's Gustavo, who's building the new SpeakerHub. He's responsible for the course platform that you've seen. He's responsible for the new speaker page and all of the cool things. He's part of the machine, and the machine keeps going. And so Gustavo has the huge responsibility of making sure that this thing works, but it also that it's easy to use. because if it's not easy to use, you're not going to use it, right? So we're going to bring it down to the 3rd grade, 4th grade level. You know, the funny thing, I'll tell you something funny. You want to see a miracle product? This thing here is a miracle product, right? Anybody got kids or grandkids and you ever given them an iPad, but they never read the book and learned all the tricks, but they could use it? My daughter, Siri, I want to watch this. She can't type, but she know how to use Siri to pull up the video she wants, right? You know, hey Google, like hey Google's her TV because she can't read. She only 3. So she hold the mic. Hey Google, put on SpongeBob. That's what she does, right? So this is how easy things needs to be. It needs to be where all I need to, if a kid can use it and swipe and touch and figure it out, that's how easy things need to be. So when we developed SpeakerHub, my 3 things were this. What are the 3 things that everybody knows how to do who's ever used a computer? They know how to Google. So we built search to make it as easy as possible. We hid everything. At first, there was no search results and nobody would search because they didn't know what to do with it. I'm like, it should be just like Google, just a search bar. Didn't get anything. So we had to show y'all that we did have something in the database, right? So if you knew how to Google, you could use it. The second thing, what else everybody else on here know how to do? Put stuff in the shopping cart at Amazon. So we added to a list. That's your wish list and shopping cart that y'all have perfected. You made Amazon $1 quadrillion putting things in shopping carts and wedding registries and baby registries and all these other things, adding to a list. And the other thing is the first app that was ever created on computers, email, right? So if you could Google search, shop at Amazon, and send an email, you could use SpeakerHub or PitchDB. When we added AI, if you could approve the things that we already searched for you, if you could approve the email we already wrote, you can get booked for a speaking gig. So you didn't even have to search or write anymore because we took that part out, right? I envision in a year or 2, a person signs up and they say, I want to be on 48 podcasts, 12 speaking gigs, and 4 conferences on this topic. And that's it. It just works. I mean, that's what's in my mind. You sign up, you do that, boom. And we limit it to 500 people and the rest of them, they got to go figure it out. They got to go do it the hard way, right? But that's what I see 2 to 3 years from now, where there is no interaction. It's just tell the AI what you want and it goes and does it for you. But we're not there yet. That's where we're trying to go. That makes it even easier. Then you're going to see my little daughter on here at 4 getting booked for speaking gigs. And I'm going to ask y'all what's the excuse because she can't read. Right? So, but we want to make it as easy as possible, guys. That's the goal. So any other questions? We're 30 minutes in. I got a hard stop at 1:15 because I got a 1:15 meeting. So any other questions before I get into the topic that I want to cover today, which I think is a groundbreaking perspective, right? No other questions, topics? Okay. All right. So I was listening to a talk about from a guy named Charlie Munger. And most people know Warren Buffett because he's the guy that's always out front. But his business partner was a guy named Charlie Munger. And Charlie had the same amount of money as Warren. He just didn't want to be out front because he was a bit more direct and blunt. And he was the opposite of Warren. Warren was kind of like a huggy teddy bear. Charlie Munger was like, nah, I don't play any of that. But he lived to be 99, right? And a great book is called Old Charlie's Almanac or something like that. And it's just a story. It's his story and things of that sort. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, he had an idea that if you wanted to learn how to be successful at something, the best thing you could do is to define what failure looks like. Right? So if you wanted to define what success looks like, the best thing you could do was first define what failure looks like. So let's use Jasmine for an example. Jasmine, if a person wanted to have the worst health ever, what would they do?
They eat the worst food. They don't exercise. They're becoming lazy.
Right, don't go so fast. Slow down, slow down. You're going too fast. They eat the worst food.
Mhm.
They don't
Don't
exercise.
exercise.
What else?
Have a poor self-image.
Yep.
Just lazy. Don't get out of bed, and they don't have support.
Okay. Anything else?
If they don't want to be healthy,
Yeah.
well, the two main thing is diet and exercise. Most people do, but the frame of mind. You have to have that frame of mind,
But they
right?
can use drugs, right? If they start smoking crack, if they,
But then when they smoke crack, yeah, they
I
lose
mean,
weight,
that would
but
destroy your health a little bit, right? At least a little bit, right? Do you see what I mean? Like,
they're gonna be
they're-
messed up.
right? So she gave us 6 things, right? So would it make sense that if you did the opposite of those 6 things, you probably would be in pretty good health if you got out of the bed, you exercise, you have positive self-image, you ate good food, you had support that encouraged you in eating good foods and things of that sort. Does that make sense? So what I want to do in the next 30 minutes is let's define what a speaker would do if they never wanted to get booked.
That's good. They
Right.
first thing they're not here.
That's one. They don't have support, right? So let's bring this up. Let's actually make a document for this because I think that this is really important. All right, let me share my screen and I'll share this with everyone. So we're gonna call this "If I Want to Fail as a Speaker, Thought Leader / Business Owner." All right, so let's make this list. Let's do this because I thought this is an interesting exercise. So number 1, don't associate with others in their industry. Okay. What else?
Don't have no idea where you're going.
Anyone can chime in on this. You can put them in the chat. You can speak up, but let's make the list of the things that, this would guarantee failure, right? What are the things that would guarantee failure?
Not a clear idea of where you're going. You have no North Star.
No plan, right?
Don't work at it every day. Don't put in the effort. No effort.
John, Jack, Bonnie, Edge.
Don't take action in the direction of your goals.
AJ put in the
Or
chat, they would never share what they do with anyone.
What does that mean? Like share,
they
if they
wouldn't
make
talk
cakes,
about their
they don't share
speaking
their,
topic.
okay.
So they're not going to share that they are a speaker or their topic with anyone. Never practice speaking and only wait to get on stage to speak.
Lacking confidence? How about that?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead.
Allow your imposter syndrome to rule.
Okay.
You know, imposter syndrome is a symptom of the competent. Do you know that?
People.
Yep.
You know, because the fools never get imposter syndrome. They just do it, right? There's only the competent people that's like, man, I know a lot, but I know I got a lot more to learn. The idiot is like, I don't know nothing, and it don't matter, right?
Yep. And
Make
they are ruling the country.
excuses.
So
I
we end
never
up losing
thought
to
of
the
it.
fools.
Never thought of it that way.
Right?
Make
what else?
excuses,
Makes excuses.
which is a big one.
Okay. We'll put it in bold since she says it's a big one.
Yeah.
Ever allocate or designate time for your craft?
Never, I can't spell that. Third grade words, please.
Make time.
Y'all got me over here. Look, I need a squiggly line in my glasses. I can't spell all this stuff. Anything else?
Not taking continuous action toward your goal. Poor discipline.
Make sure you don't have a speaking coach.
Refuse help from those who know more than you. Mentors or even colleagues.
Yep.
Rephrase that to be a know-it-all.
Only speak when people pay you.
Yeah, I think that I put that up here already. Wait to speak only when paid. Yeah.
Wait for the perfect speech. There's 3 from Cyron.
Okay.
Take things personally. And overcalculate, critique.
Oh,
Michelle-
taking things personally, so important. That's huge.
Michelle added no clarity. Bonnie, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that when we take things personally, it's not about us. When people say no, when it's not available, whatever, it's not about us. That's so big, folks.
It's the Don Miguel Ruiz said that, eh?
4 agreements.
Yeah, yes, Don Miguel
Yeah.
Ruiz, right?
My favorite little pocketbook.
That's good.
Always will have it.
Good for you.
Don't conquer fear of speaking. No system and processes. Saran said not being a part of SpeakerHub. No connection to Ron's story.
Using our competitors. You want to guarantee a loss? Go somewhere else. No, that's funny. We'll keep that under no system or processes. We'll be
No,
Do too many things at once.
Yeah.
Too many things at once.
no focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not looking for the stories or not seeing the stories.
Tell me more.
So every day we go through life and we have different stories and different interactions, rather it be driving or rather it be interactions that we see with our children or loved ones. And we need to take those stories and use those to be able to
Take them to the
empathize
stage.
and associate, with others.
Yeah, I think that's what Carter said is really important, because that's what separates us from ChatGPT, right? The ability for me to say when my son bothers me, ChatGPT can't say that. When little GPT comes, they're like, what? Little GPT? Come on, man, you ain't got no kids, right? So our stories are what make our books real and what makes them real to life. So if you're going to be writing a book using ChatGPT, what makes your book different than what it would generate for anyone else is the stories that you use to prove the points that ChatGPT may have outlined on your topic. Does that make sense, Bonnie?
And not practicing your craft, which is how to tell those stories and how to engage the crowd, which is what I'm always in Toastmasters about. You can't speak, you're not going to get booked very much. They're going to say, man, that guy sucked. And then you won't get booked anymore because they'll talk amongst each other about you.
Mm-hmm.
Not having a system. Systems is really a big one.
Yep,
Not
we got
having
that
a
one. No
system in
system and
place.
process. We got that as number 19. right?
That's a pretty complete list.
Waiting to there are more. Waiting to be perfect.
Oh,
Waiting
thought
to
that was okay.
waiting to be found. Michelle said not putting yourself out there for people to get to know you. So it's kind of the same waiting, not putting yourself out there.
Having FOPO.
Ooh, not building relationships.
FOPO is fearing other people's opinions.
Oh, I've never heard that before. Okay, Kevin. Let's see. Not having support.
Yeah, we have that.
Okay. Then Kevin said FOPO.
Anything else?
They fall into some really good groups.
Anything else? Anything else?
Not continuing to be educated on what it is you know.
I got a big one, complaining all the time. Man, I hear so many negative complaining people, and their life reflects that.
I got that. A follow up on that one. Engage in negative self-talk. Engage in negative self-talk.
Yeah, we all know how to fail. Wow.
Not working on yourself daily.
So we're going to leave that under continuing to learn.
Okay.
Number 29.
Okay.
Right. So now, very interesting thing, right? Very interesting exercise, because I think Kevin makes a great point. We all know what not to do, right? And in understanding what not to do, we learn what to do, right? Now, I'm going to tell you why we're able to come up with that list. Because all of us are guilty of doing probably half of that stuff. Maybe not right now, but at some point in our lives, we were guilty of not doing half of the things. We were doing those self-sabotaging behaviors, right? So here's the next question that I think is really important, especially for those who lack a little bit of courage or lack a little bit of direction. How do we define failure?
Giving up on your goals or dreams without putting in a sufficient amount of effort. Maybe.
Now, I asked that question in that order for the beginning because everybody knew what it took to fail, but nobody has an answer what failure is.
Failure is knowing that you can do more and you don't, or having a too high expectation and you aren't being realistic with your capability and the time that you're willing to give up.
Hold on, give me a second.
I'm sorry.
So you said not living up to your full potential?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
In the chat, someone put quitting after rejection is failure. Quitting, not trying is failure. Not trying, losing your spirit or drive for what you want. No revenue.
Not attempting what you want to achieve in life. Some people just want it and never take action to go after it. Don't even make an attempt.
Yep.
See.
So here's why I wanted to bring this up, guys. Is there anything else I'm missing? I see the chat is 35. I ain't reading all of them.
I got you. I'm with you. We're up to speed. Not knowing your own value is failure. And a reminder you need to get better.
Or diminishing your value is what it should be. diminishing your self-worth, but that's fine. We'll leave it at that. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I think we define failure in different ways on a personal level, right? Where for some people, it's not making a certain amount of money. For some people, it's not being as far ahead as their friends or the people that they're comparing themselves to. For some people, it's not understanding the impact that they're making. So they say, well, man, I ain't such and such, so it don't work for me. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know, whether you think it will or you think it won't, chances are you're right. Right. So now I want to bring this up because for me, this is really, really, really important because I think we all know what we probably should be doing. Right. But the best way to get over failure, in my opinion, is asking a very simple question. Why is it worth it? Not why, but why is it worth it? Because some things ain't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Certain things in life aren't worth it. Let me give you a great example. How many of y'all, even at my age, can walk across a balance beam? Right? We can do a balance beam, right? Most people, you think if we had a thing that was a foot wide, right? We made it 12 inches wide and we stretched it out 20 feet. Do you think you could walk to one end? I put it on my floor back here. You think if I put it from here and it ran into the bathroom, you could walk from my desk to the bathroom without falling? How many of y'all could do that? Right? Even if you couldn't do it, if I said if you tried it, there was $1,000 on the other end, how many of y'all would try it? Yeah, everybody would try it then, right? But let's say I raised the pole 20 feet in the air. There's no net beneath you. Do you still make that walk for $1,000? How many would? Can you put it in the chat if you would? You got to walk 20 feet there, 20 feet back. You're 20 feet in the air. No net underneath. You fall, it's concrete. Are you doing it for $1,000?
Not enough money
said,
for
no,
me
I'm
to do
good.
that.
Huh?
Not enough money for me to risk my life. Because if you don't have the support and if you don't have the experience and you're going to attempt to do 20 and 20 back and a little wind come and knock you off, hallelujah, $1,000? Nah.
Wouldn't
What
even
about
pay your
for
medical bill.
would you do it for 100,000, Jasmine?
I'll try.
Okay.
And
So
I'll
she would
really
go, how many would go,
concentrate.
how many people would do the 20 feet in the air for $100,000?
20
John,
feet.
If you let
doing
me crawl on all fours.
You do it. You can go across however you want.
However you want. I'll lay on my tummy and drag myself across. Maybe $1 million.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. So let's raise it to 100 feet. Same prize, 100 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Kevin, it's the same. Look, the
Uh,
obstacle is still the same. The only difference, the only thing that's changed is the consequences. The obstacle is
And
still the same. It's still the same 1 foot thing, 20 feet out. But the consequences are different. If you fall from 20 feet, falling from 100 ain't gonna hurt that much more. I mean,
it would hurt my mind. I'd be so afraid. I would probably panic, have a heart attack, have a stroke, fall off. No. I'm stopping right. I'd be nope, can't do it.
okay.
It would mess with
So
my head.
even if we raised it to 10 million,
Nope.
Ooh, 10 million.
Ooh. I'd be thinking about it though. I don't know.
right? Let's move it to top of the Empire State Building, right? And you know, like at the John Hancock and all these different buildings, they have these things where you can look over. They got like the observation deck, right? Let's say they stretched the thing out there on the observation deck and they said, if anybody goes across and can come back, it's only 20 feet, it's a foot wide, no straps, nothing. 20 feet out, 20 feet back. We'll give you $1 billion. How many people doing it? Anybody?
Depends on how secure is that platform we
No,
scooting
it ain't
across.
secure.
Because
It's you're up there. You're gonna survive if you make it back. It ain't gonna fall, but you just can't slip off. You going, Jasmine? Michelle Mazer said nope.
$1, I'm gonna try.
John, you going?
I'm not going.
I don't know. That's a at the moment decision right
I'm
there. When
going.
I'm looking down,
John, what you doing? You going for the Billy?
I'm going for the Billy, dog. Yo, I might moonwalk across it. I'm playing.
Hey, all right. So well, that's interesting. Okay, cool. So for $1 billion, you would do it. You would risk your life for the chance to have $1 billion. Okay, that's an interesting answer.
Yeah.
Would you do it for 100 million?
Yeah.
Okay, for 10.
Yeah.
I'll go practice, and then attempt.
Yeah.
So for 10 million, you would do it.
Mhm.
Practice and then.
Cool.
People
All
do
right.
it all the time. Why not?
So
No,
I,
they
I
all
think
have
I think
stress.
I got my answers right. So Jack said I ain't going. Jack said, "Hey, that
Well,
money ain't that
money's not
important. I ain't about to
important.
risk my life for it."
It's the feeling of accomplishment and the feeling of success. Money is very secondary for, if you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, money's way down there. The hierarchy of needs is, the feeling of ecstasy of accomplishment.
So what would it take for you to go across that 20 feet, 12 inches wide, go across, walk across, no straps or anything, and come back? You're, 1,000 feet in the air. You're at the top of the Empire State Building, 100 stories up.
Well, if I had my mind in the right place, if I meditated beforehand,
All these disclaimers, Jack. Just tell us.
It's a foot wide. That's a pretty good amount of space. A foot wide. That's pretty good. A balance beam is only 4 inches.
Mhm.
The girls on the balance beam that are doing flips and putting their legs out, that think about that. This is a foot wide. Anybody can do that if they got the right mind.
Okay. So you would do it.
I think I would.
Okay. Right. So how many people here have kids?
How many
Right.
people do I?
Have kids or a niece or nephew
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
Right. So the reason why I like this is because I think it's a great definition of why. If my daughter happened to crawl out on that thing, ain't no question I'm going. She ain't gonna die by herself. We both going. Yeah, but I'm gonna try to go save her. Right. So with that being the case, it's not really about failure. It's why would I risk this pain that I get from doing these things? Do you see what I mean? Because why is it worth it? Is getting the claps on stage worth hanging out with these folks in the industry I don't like, who may be my competition? Is it worth me planning? Is it worth me putting in the effort? Is it worth me taking action? Is it worth me telling people about that I'm a speaker? Is it worth me doing all of these things? Because for a lot of people, it's not worth it. Right? So that's why I didn't ask, why would you do it? It's why is it worth it? So I think the biggest thing that a speaker has to do is understand what's the mission. Ironically, Bart is coming in at this time. What's the mission at hand? And is the mission more important than these 31 things? Because when it is, they do it. We always use religion and things like that on here. And I think one of the best examples of this are the different religious folks that knock on your door on a Saturday morning or whatever. They fearing all of this. They done threw all this in the trash. They know they're going to get cussed out, hung up on. It's 100 degrees and they got on all their clothes. You're like, man, this dude out here with a 4-piece suit on at 97 degrees on a Saturday in St. Louis. His clothes sweating, not just him. The clothes are sweating. It's so hot outside, right? Or the people that go on missionary trips to other countries. What they believe about the mission that they're on is so great. They leave their family for 2 to 3 years to go risk their lives in a country they don't know. They're not making any money. They're not doing anything. The only thing that matters is the mission. So my next question is this. What's your mission? Right? I'm very clear at SpeakerHub what our mission is. My job is to amplify the voices of speakers because I got to counteract all of the ignorance that's being put out on through music, social media, things of that sort. No, I enjoy music. I enjoy social media. I just don't think that that life is well balanced. Right? So I'm not saying Sexy Red shouldn't sell albums. I just think I should have a different version for the people who want to balance out that side of things. I don't think that rap music is bad. I just think that we probably should balance it out a little bit. And I love beats, man. I've got 4 speakers on my shelf back there. That's how much I love music. And I got another 5 of them in front of me. I love sound and music. But I also believe in balance. So the mission to me is to get as many speakers on stage as possible with their positive messages, using the skills that I've learned that it would take them decades to learn. Right? Jadika is better off borrowing my marketing skills than trying to go back and relive what I've done over the last 27 years. You know what I'm better off doing? Learning about reflexology and all the different things that she knows without me having to go back to college and try to learn that stuff just because my elbow hurt. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't need to be in a high risk situation in order to borrow from and to learn from Bart. Right? We got to learn to borrow from each other our fears. So I wanted to bring this up because all of us have these fears and we have these anxieties, but also in the same group, people have conquered these same fears and same anxieties. And we haven't created a safe place where we can actually freaking admit that we got this fear and this anxiety without judgment. See, I did a podcast years ago and I called it, "It's Okay to Be Okay." Right? Now, here's the issue. A lot of people just don't want to be okay. They got to be great. They got to be this. I got to be the best. I understand, but it's okay to just be okay. I am so grateful for the person who was okay being my first grade teacher. She didn't need to be a billionaire. She didn't need to be an entrepreneur with 13 side hustles. She just wanted to be a great first grade teacher, Miss Dean. Right? I'm so grateful for Miss Henry that just wanted to be a second grade teacher. Right? So the reason why I bring this up is because it's super duper duper important that we understand what mission we're on as speakers, right? The people that we're responsible for helping or that we can help. And guess what? It don't matter what level of the mission you're at. Right? Bart, what was your rank in the military?
Command Sergeant Major.
What was it?
Command Sergeant Major.
Command Sergeant Major, right? Was that the lowest rank in the military that you were in the branch?
No.
Was that the highest?
Yes.
The highest ever? That's
the highest in the Army. Only thing above that in the Army is the Sergeant Major of the Army. So there's only one of those.
Okay. So there's no colonel or a lieutenant. I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
So you have enlisted rank and you have officer rank. So you got 4-star general is the highest, then 3, then 2, then 1. But on the enlisted side, Command Sergeant Major is the highest.
Okay. Okay, cool. Right? So there are people who are in the Army that will never make it to Bart's rank. And they're happy. They will retire at a lower rank. But then we have Colin Powell that's in a different division who said, I want to be 5-star general. And that's okay. Everybody got to play their role, though. That's the point I'm making. Some people quit the game because they can't be Colin Powell. Do you see what I mean? I ain't gonna be Tony Robbins, so I don't want to help nobody. Dude, you're a knucklehead. We're better off without you. I mean, I'm just being real. Like, we're better off without you. But the people who aren't better off without Jadika are the people who she's helped. They're eternally grateful that she chose to help them. You ain't got to help nobody else, but help me. When I met with a young lady yesterday who referred Janika to us, and she couldn't stop saying positive things about how Janika helped her. And she was on the call. I won't put her name out there, but she couldn't stop. And she said it on video. She couldn't stop talking about how incredible Jadika's techniques were. I promise you, she is glad Jadika became a speaker. Just being real with you, right? Because without that, she would still be taking medicines and still dealing with that pain. Somebody who has confusion and they're trying to recover from some illness or a stroke or something like that is gonna really appreciate John's mind mapping because their mind doesn't work the same anymore. So I wanted to bring this up because we have all of these fears, but we also got each other. We can talk about it. Some days I don't want to get up and do these meetings, but I got to read the mission. Yo, these folks, ain't nobody else helping them to get booked. I got to help them. I know it's going to be the same.
And you're the best head of product.
Huh?
And you're the best head of product.
You see what I got to deal with? Every time John makes a joke, you know what I ask myself? Is it worth it? Is it worth coming on these calls to deal with this? Is the value that he's bringing to these calls with his suggestions about ChatGPT, is that upside that he brings worth the jokes that I got to deal with and endure so that you all can learn how to write your books? It is. He got 2 more. Right? But that's really the thing, right? It's the mission. It's the mission. Even when you get tired, I listened to Mr. Beast and he said, man, what do you do when you get tired? He says, I tell myself this is when my competition quits. So he keeps going, right? And what most people don't know about Mr. Beast, he has I think it's over 300 million people that watch his YouTube videos. If he put out a video right now, in the next hour, it'll have 50 million views on it. That's how popular he is. But he has Crohn's disease. So his body's constantly trying to kill him. But that's giving him some urgency, right? It's giving him a lot of urgency because of his weakened immune system. So he's like, dude, I got to make as many videos. I got to, give as much as I can because there will be a day when I can't. Well, he's in his early 20s. But he's come to reality with his own mortality. I ain't got forever to share this message with y'all. I don't know how much time I got, but while I'm here, I got to do it. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, guys, as we go into overtime, which is we all know what it would take to be a failure, but we don't always do the opposite. And partially, it's not because we don't know what to do, it's because sometimes it just ain't worth it. Sometimes we feel like, man, this ain't worth it for me, right? So any other, Jasmine, go ahead.
On the vein for you to say it's worth it for you to be here, Ron, and we all feel that way because this morning, a little personal story, quick. Yeah, I got a phone call maybe about 9:30 from an individual, saw the phone from an individual, and I said, no, that's gonna not make my day go well, right? But the curiosity in me, just as I got ready to come down, I said, let me call and see what this idiot wants, right? But anyway, I got on the call. And of course, the person, just flip my mood. It takes a lot to flip my mood, but flip my mood. And, the first instinct was, I'm just going to chill today. I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to come back to focus. Another voice says, get your behind on your call and, go on your call. I'm just going to be quiet and learn today. Well, the universe and God is amazing because that person was trying to sabotage me for me to come here and not be myself. I wasn't going to share. I wasn't going to speak. But guess what happened, Ron? You called me first. I was the first person you reached out to ask a question, and that's my win for the day. you pulled me out of something that was bent hell on pulling me away. So always remember that. Keep it in your arsenal. On the day, you don't know whose lives. We're all on here trying to be whatever, whatever, but there's a backstory happening every day in each other's lives. And so I thank you for today. And in life, people are going to want to sabotage you in business no matter what. And if that part of you that's going to succumb to that, you see, I learned to be tough. You know why I learned to be tough, right? There's no excuse working for the man. None. I don't care. There's none. So I did that today, and you called me and pulled me out of my funk.
High five.
High five.
That addresses the first thing that we talked about.
Yeah.
Right? Don't associate with others in the industry.
Yeah.
Right? If you didn't have the community of people to come to, that would not let you linger in that thing. Right? I don't think any of this is by mistake, guys. I really believe that we all know each other. We're all pushing towards helping our audiences because that's what we're meant to do. And I'm just looking for my people. I ain't looking for everybody. Everybody ain't gonna like SpeakerHub. We can give it to everybody for free. Everybody ain't gonna use it. But for those who are gonna use it and understand what the mission is, I'm here to support in every way that I can. So really quick, as a recap, before we go into the last 5 minutes, if you want to fail, here are the things. I'm going to share the documents so you can put them into ChatGPT to find the opposites, right? What does failure look like to most of us? The question I can't answer is, why is it worth it to you? You have to answer that yourself, right? And then what's the mission? You know, you never go into any situation without understanding what the mission is. And that's not just a military thing, even the best consulting programs. One of my mentors, he worked for a consulting company, one of the largest consulting companies. And he said, every day before you start the job, you're required to read the one-page mission of why you're at that job. He says, I was at a job for 3 years and I read that thing every day for 3 years because I had to be reminded of what I was there for so that I didn't get distracted by the other things that other people at the job would come and ask me to help them with. That wasn't on the write-up for what he was there for. So I think being focused and reminding yourselves of why you're doing this in the times when you don't have a clear definition of what you should be doing or what to do in a certain situation, you can go back and say, hey, does this further the mission? Did I want to do 3 calls a day? No, but does it further the mission? Yes. Do I want to be the public face of SpeakerHub? Nope, never did. But nobody else knows how to get booked like me. So I had to until we get someone else who knows what I know. So I'll share this document with everyone. Let me make it shareable now. But I think it's a, let's see, what should we call it? Ways to succeed, right? Opposite ways to succeed. Let's keep it positive. Opposite ways to succeed as a speaker, right? So this is the way that we're going to win. And I think everyone who has access to this, I think you all have an advantage over everybody else because a lot of us haven't defined what we're trying to do and how we're going to do it. So there's the link for those who want it. Hopefully it was valuable, but I think it's a great exercise to go through. So Erica, I know Erica is asking about VAs. We don't have VAs. We can help you with pitching, but we don't offer a VA service. You can go to Upwork, Fiverr.
That ain't what I had
like
heard. Oh, that ain't what I had heard.
No, we offer something called Speaker VA, which is where we send the pitches for you. But usually most folks say, well, no, I need them to do this and do that. I'm like, they don't do that. So
okay. No, that actually helped me too, though.
What'd you say?
The Speaker VA will actually help me too, because I just don't have the bandwidth.
Gotcha. But yeah, look, after this call, I'll send you a message. I have some free time this afternoon, but I can show you some resources of where to go, where you can find potential virtual assistants.
Okay.
Oh, there you
I
go.
got
Say
you.
Ron knows someone.
Yes, I'm about to,
Um,
okay. Hold
So
on.
any other questions? What were your thoughts about that? Have you ever done an exercise similar to that, where you define the opposite thing in order to understand what you should be doing? Right? Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to add, for me, having a vision of what it looks like to be at your goal, what the feeling looks like, what the satisfaction looks like. I mean, I understand about mission, but taking also into consideration vision of what your life or your feeling or, who you are in the world or who you are in your community, whatever it might be. But I think the vision of having a picture, an image of that is helpful for me as far as motivation and desire.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think, some people are vision focused, some people are mission focused. I happen to be one of the mission focused people. Like, again, I'm a perspirational speaker, not an inspirational speaker. So vision is usually around inspiration. And I think it's a great point. I think you all should add that to your own thing. Add an ideal. I know people have vision boards with pictures of their dream house and and all of those things, right? And I think that they work. They get you emotionally charged and dreaming, which I think a life without dreams is a terrible life. So I 100% agree with you, Jack. It can be added. This isn't a complete and exhaustive thing, but I think adding vision of what it would look like is important too, right? But let me add a step to that. I'm a bit protective of everyone here because of a concept that I know called the gap in the gain, right? And The Gap in the Gain is a great book by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan that talks about all of your frustration comes from where you are now and the distance between where you want to be, which is your vision for the future. But all of your gratitude and your happiness comes from where you are now and the distance you've come from where you were in the past. So I'm a firm believer that you should have a vision of the final goal, but you also should have a vision of the next steps. Does that make sense? So if, for someone that's homeless, it doesn't help them to dream of the $5 million house. They have to first dream of getting off the streets and then getting into a house that they may rent by themselves, and then getting into something that they own, and then the bigger thing. A lot of discontentment comes on that path. And one second, a lot of discontentment comes on that path because they say, if I can't get that, I don't want to do it at all. And it just destroys everything. So go ahead, Jack. Let you add.
Success is a cinch, inch by inch, but hard by the yard. Crystallizing your goals is the way to see the next step and not look at the long run, because the long run will discourage most of us. But if we can just see the next step and crystallize those goals, that's what it's about.
Yep. I agree. I agree. So I want to leave with something. This is one of my favorite, that quote that you just brought up made me think about something else, but I want to bring up this thing. I want to end on this. This is my call to action today, right? And this is like, man, outside of all the poems we learned in the fraternity, this is one of my favorite ones. And this guy, Edgar Albert Guest, probably is one of my favorite motivational poets ever. And I'll share it here on the screen. And it says, somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe he couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, oh, you'll never do that. At least nobody else has done it. But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With the lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, He started to sing and he tackled the thing that couldn't be done and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it can't be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that can't be done, and you'll do it. We've all been on the other side of that, right? But you can't outwork the work. That's all I hear. You hear all the crap, but just get to work. Send
What's
the
that
pictures.
poet's name again?
It couldn't be done. I'll share it in the.
I just put it in the chat. It's there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So it's one of my favorite poems. You know, I got to work on my performance a little bit more so I can get it down. Like I know all of my fraternity poems, I can say them with my eyes closed while somebody hit me over the head. But not that they did that. But you know, there's rumors. There's rumors that, you know, they don't give you those shirts by, you know, you just don't go buy a shirt. So any other questions before we go? I got my next meeting. Good to see everybody. Take off your coat and just get to it. All right. Talk to you all
Okay.
tomorrow.
Thank you, Ron.
Mhm.